This motion trick or framer motion trick will help you animate things better, and it'll help you make your layout animations feel way smoother. And you can use this trick almost anywhere, wherever you want to have the translate effects with motion. This trick will be helpful. This time we are going to talk about layout effects, layout IDs, and how you can use it with motion. I wanted to make a dedicated video on layout animations as well, so this is the one for it. And let's get straight to the video. This is the code editor that I have, and this is the screen that I have. For this, I've got a array of objects. I'll make some room for it. We have got items, which are: first is the ID, second is the title, third is the description, fourth is the source of the image. So we are going to create a grid of cards that we are also going to filter through name or title or description or whatever. And using that, we are going to move the cards around, and you'll see first the animation is abrupt. Once the layout ID is in place, it becomes relatively smoother. That happens through layout animations or shared layouts as we call it. This is exactly what we are going to do in this video. So let's get started with the component, and we are going to call it grid and create a component for it. Grid.tsx rafc grid exported. We'll import this grid here and maybe paste these items here so that we just don't have to drill props around. Or I can call it here as well. Use client because we'll be using state. So or const not hovered, it's going to be items set items is equal to use states components. Let's call it components. Cool. These are the initial components that we have. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to loop through, and I'll call it grid calls for, let's make it for the desktop only, gap 4, and I'm going to loop through these items dot item index, and it will be div simple image tag. First the key would be ID, or key can be item dot title, and this will be image. Source would be item dot source, alt would be item dot title. Width height can be 100. I wanted to make it better, so I'll make a class name here. It'll be width 40 or maybe h40 w full rounded md, and object would be cover. Let's see, what do we have here? Some error. What's the issue? Okay, UI.html. I think I need to paste this into the next config. Next.config.ts. It is already there. Okay, where is it? Add utilities. Okay, this is some banner that maybe I'll replace it with this, for maybe this with some other ones. A little hiccup there, but no problem. Let's see, this is what we have now. This is a bit sad because we need it to be 500 so that they are at least crispier, and I'll have it max with 4xlmx auto. For that matter, you see all the images are lined up here properly. Maybe I'll have a better looking height and more spread out container so that you see this is here. Maybe 80 is more. Maybe I want it to be 72. Cool. This works. We have got tiles, and right below tiles, I'll make it rounded SM. Right below tiles, I need an h2 tag, and it's going to say item.title. And it'll be the title which we have. Class name would be text LG font medium MT2 text neutral 600, and text shadow SM text black shadow black by 10. Let's see, how does it look? Black is too much. Maybe 2 would work, or maybe 5 would work, so that stands out a bit. Right below this, I wanted to p tag, and it'll be item.description. सो रहा है भाई ये वरुण, मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, ये सो रहा है। क्या करे लड़कों का मेरे को समझ नहीं आता। फिर बोलते हैं प्रमोशन नहीं मिल रहा है। न्यूट्रल 500 maybe and MT2. So you've got this, maybe not this. I needed excess, so that fits. And this is what we have. Maybe I can increase the gap. Maybe I can make it 6xl, and gap I can make it 10, so that is more sorted out, more spread out. And on group hover, maybe I can call it a div. And on group hover, I can scale the image a bit. Relative, full, overflow, hidden, and I'll call it group. Group hover scale would be 105, transition all duration would be 200. So you see, this is hovering over it, right? And this also can be rounded SM. Cool. Simple effect that we have here. Simple cards that we have here. Now I want to have tags sort of a thing wherein I can click on the link and it will sort some of these components for me. Right now, however they are, I maybe want to sort them some way differently. Maybe from a title, from description, or from ID. so that I can see the jumping around going on. So I'll call it filters, and maybe I can create another div here. Div class name, flex, item center, gap 4. Cool. I'll create a button ID. Similarly, a button. First, I'll style this ID. Class name would be border neutral 200, BG neutral 100, text neutral 600, px2 py1 rounded would be MD. You see, we've got this ID, right? Probably out of this grid that we have. We call it div, or maybe section even. Cool. And I'll have this here. Cool. But I should have this max width exactly here and py20 here. So you see, I have this ID here. Button would be cursor pointer, and I want to have a little bit of MT10 MB4. So you see, nicely aligned. Maybe I can reduce the padding at the top so that it's better. This should work. I can be 0 only. It is already having enough padding. Cool. You have this ID. Similarly, I want to have title and maybe description. These are basically the filters that I want to have. If I click on it, it does something. Now I can improve the design of it, but that's not the goal for this video. The goal is to teach you layout animations. So once I click on it, some layout effect has to take place and we are going to sort them. So let's write the sorting logic, or let's just vibe code the sorting logic. So on click sort items. Cool. I'll create a simple sort component. Type would be, it'll be having a type, and exactly that's what I want. And I'm going to write a simple switch case that is going to sort it. For case is ID, it'll sort by set items dot sort a dot id minus b dot id. Simple sorting logic and return. For case title, it'll be again the same thing. We use local compare to compare which one should come first, and then we return. And for the same part description, we are also going to use local compare. So now if I click on these items, nothing fucking happens. And why is that? Because I suck at React. Sort नहीं कर रहा है. Titles are already sorted है क्या? A. It is sorting, but it is somehow jumbled up. So what I want to do is I want to jumble these up. Jumble these components randomly. Don't make them sorted in any way. So that actually jumping हम देख सके. Okay. Let's see what do we have here. So this is this. Once I click on ID, nothing really happens. Title 3A. Okay. So it is actually sorting. 3D animated pin should come here. Try description. Something is really off with this. हाँ नहीं काम कर रहा. I will sort only and pass in the ID. So I think what I'll have to do is I'll have to do this. Trigger re-renders at will. Cool. And once I have this, let's say I do a title description ID. So this is working. Now with this, what I want to really do is, अब ये देख रहे हो आप abrupt jumps हैं. What I want to do here is I want to simply make them move around smooth. उसके लिए we can just do this simple trick by motion. Once I import motion, I'm going to convert this card, which is right here, motion.div, into a motion card, motion.div, and I'm going to give it a layout ID of item.title would work because everyone has a unique title. So once I do this, now you see, everyone is jumping around. They are smoothly animating, and that is exactly what we wanted also. Every animation happens smoothly. There are no abrupt jumps with just this piece of code, which is the layout ID. And that is how you can achieve layout animations with motion with ease. Now, if I can go around and play with transitions, so it will be a lot faster or a lot easier, or you can make it a bit slower, or you can define the animation type. Type would be, let's say, spring. Stiffness would be 100. Damping would be 10. And once I have stiffness and damping, you see, they're juggling, which I do not want actually. I want maybe damping 20. This maybe I want 300. Let's see how they behave now. A bit jumpier. Again, I don't want that much of jumping. See? pretty smooth. And once you have this duration actually doesn't matter because you are relying on a spring config. Because spring कैसा होता है, वो अपने टाइम पे ही काम करता है, stiffness और damping दे दोगे, उससे you'll have to control duration. So this is what I mean by, and you can see it right here also. See, smooth jumps. Everything is jumping smoothly. Also, I want to keep a track of a current card which is there. For example, we have this animation. Now, what I want is if I click on any of these, the image expands, background fades off, and we have title and description aligned. So I can also have some more things going on. Maybe I can have tags associated with these. So I'm going to quickly modify the component so that I have additional information, because if I'm clicking here, I'm expecting some additional information to show up as well. That is exactly what I'm going to do here. And that is what I'll be doing. So add tags array of strings relevant to the component key into each object, so that we have some tags to show and some link or href, but that doesn't matter. Let's keep it simple. See, we have got these so that I can actually style it. Cool. Now we have these tags. What I'm going to do here is quickly I'll create a set of a state, and I'll call it active, set active, and it'll be use state. It'll be either a string or null, and initially it will be null. On clicking off any of these, and I'll create it a motion button, not button, but button. And let's see if this works. Yes, this works. And where's this button? Class will text left. Cool. I have this as a button, and on click, I want to set active item dot title. Simple, straightforward. So once I click on it, and by the way, this should be cursor pointer, bro. Debatable, but that's what we like. And once we have something which is active, I want to have something on the page. I'll call it this max width again. Again, I'll have to have an outer container, man. This sucks. But that is fine. Let's call it here. I'll call it active item maybe. And this will be div class name would be absolute or fixed maybe. Insert 0 width full, w full, or h full, bg black by 50, z would be 50. And let's see, we have this here. And there is some scroll, but that's fine. And I want to have on click set item would be null. So once I click, it would be null, but this should only be shown if active item or active is there. If active exists, then I want to show this. So I'll quickly see this. I have this black screen and I click on it. It cancels out. Inside of it, I want to show a flex container, flex items, center, justify, center. And I also want to convert it to a motion.div so that initial opacity 0, animate opacity would be 1, duration would be or transition 0.2. Cool. You see, this happens. And I can also maybe add a little bit of a delay, but that is for later. And I want to have, what I want to show here is really div class name would be width maybe 80, h would be 80 or 100 maybe, rounded MD, BG white, shadow SM, border transparent, and shadow black by 10, ring 1, ring black by 5. But we have a nice container and we have got P4. Cool. So once we have got this card, looks pretty neat. Maybe I just don't want this. It can be BG black and it can be backdrop blur LG. We have this nice little blurred effect which is there, which I like. Maybe I want it to be 5. Cool. And we have this card over here. Inside it will be image tag. Again, source would be cool, whatever that was earlier, but instead, oh, you have this active, right? Why is it giving this error? Why is active a string? It should not be a string. So I'll quickly create a type of components. Const component type would be, or type component would be id, number, title would be string, description, string, source, tags. Yeah, this works. And this will be a type of a component. And again, oh, I hate fucking TypeScript, man. It has to be, not this. It has to be a type component or null and type components. What is the issue, bro? Set active would be not item.title, but item. Oh, sorry. It has to be an array. It will not a single type. Got it. Cool. So either component or null. Now what do we have here? Again, what is this border? Again, right now nothing is selected. But if we have something selected, you see this image right here. H can be 40. Rounded can be MD. Shadow can be XL. Oh, I'm changing it at the wrong place. Not here. Edge can be 40, rounded can be SM, not H full. And shadow can be LG. This is fine. So we have some shadow going on here and exactly the same title description I want, but instead I want it to be of active. This will be active. Now we have title and description and somewhat tags that we need here, right? And this can be also LG, so that's a bit bigger. Looks okayish for now because I want to demonstrate something. And I also want to active.tags.map tag and index. And I want to simply spit out would be whatever. And it will be a div tag with tag. And this will be text xs px1 py 0.5. Rounded would be sm border neutral 100 bg neutral 50. Let's see what do we have here. Okay, these are moving out, so I'll call it flex and flex wrap. Flex wrap so that it can go to the next line, so that works. Rounded can be MD and rounded. Cool, so we have these right here. I maybe want to have them as flex boxes, so I'll call the class name would be flex items or justify between flex call. Oh my god, what the fuck did I do? Cool, and I want to justify between these with image being in one container along with the p tags and tags being at the extreme end. This is somehow fucked up and the reflex call. Okay, that is nice, but bg read 500. It has to be flex 1. Not taking flex call. Now it is taking. So this will be at the end of the lineup. Doesn't look that good, but you get the point, right? What I want to do here is show you the animation. So once I click, you see this happens. Now I want to have the exact layout animation that happens because the layout ID of this is the title of this. Again, this works for the container, but for the texts and the other parts of the component that we have, we also need to have layout ID. I'm going to show you how. For example, this is the layout ID that I have. Now, exactly the same layout ID, I also, for example, I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm calling it layout ID item.title. I'm going to call it card and then item.title. So you see, even if this happens, we have this motion going on because all of them are containers. On a given card, body item.title. Cool, that would work. Or component. You get this layout ID, and similar to this, I also want to have a layout ID here, which is this motion.dev, but not this one, actually this one, which is inside, and which would be motion.dev. And so that it's springy, because I like that, I want to have a layout ID of active.title. Now, transition also I'll copy. Transition would be this. And where is it? Active, right? So exactly right here, which you want. Now, for example, component 3D card effect. And once I click on it, the opened up pop-up will also have a component active title, that is component 3D card effect. Both of these matches, so it'll animate. It has to animate. See, it jumps from there, comes here. That is what motion is. Jumps from there, comes here, jumps from there, comes here, jumps from there, comes here. The container is animating, but the image and the text are not animating. For example, what I actually want here to be done is once I click on, let's say this card jumps, the text should also jump. For that, I'll have to make this h2 description and the image tag also motion elements that they also jump around properly. For that, what I'm going to do here is really quickly motion.h2, and I'll call it layout ID would be component title. That is exactly what I wanted to do, and some unique identifier, which is there. It can be ID, whatever, as long as it matches with the above one, and it'll be motion.p. Cool. I'll have layout ID as component description. Similarly, once these are opened, I want this same thing to be happening over here as well. Motion. Eventually, if I want to have motion or layout animation happening between two transitions, I want to have the same layout ID for that. It is done through layout ID as well. Since active.title will match the ones that I've clicked, it is going to animate. So it will be motion.p. And similarly here, the layout ID would be component description. So once I click on it, now you'll see the text also moves. See, text moved from here to there. See, all with Spring animation. Happens so fast. See, I can do all sorts of things with this, but now image is not moving. Let's move the image as well. Wrap it up, call it motion.dev. One directive, but so powerful. layoutId be, and we can also specify the transitions as well, but let's keep it simple for now. And here, I like the default one though. I'll call it motion.div, and again, I'll have a layout ID of, but instead it'll be item.title. So once I click on it, you see the image also animates, goes, adjusts, goes, adjusts. That's exactly what I wanted. This looks good, but there is a spring animation right there, which is subtle, but you can always play around with it. Oh, maybe. See? Smooth, subtle animation. Some Z index problem that I really don't want to fix right now, but let's give it a try. Title, let us see. Well, same problem, but we can resolve it in a later video. Right now, I wanted to show you the layout part of it, because what is happening here is this has a lower Z index than this because they're all in the same Z level, but this gets prioritized because this comes after. Somehow when I click on it and I outside click on it, it is coming from behind. That's not what I want. I want it to come from the front. That is something we can cover in the other class maybe. But for now, you see how you can do this and click to expand. I think I didn't mention a key somewhere. Not here. Here, item.title. So yeah. So once I refresh, you see, this is what we can achieve from this. Why is that? There is no key here. Okay. So you see, move, click to expand, all of this just with using layoutId. That's what I wanted to talk in the video, and I hope you understood something about layout animations from this video. See, looks so beautiful when it moves. And you can play again duration of it, the transition function, the easing, or the spring config. Depending upon that, you can change things up a bit. See, now it moves from here to here. The translate effect is done through layoutId. It's called a shared layout that you can also work with. And you can have all sorts of layout on all sorts of DOM elements. So that was it about the video. Also, we're doing a giveaway of t-shirts. So if you want to participate in the giveaway, we are going to give away 3 t-shirts to 3 randomly picked people from the comment section of this video. So do comment on the video, do like the video, and do subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Tab tak ke liye bye, Jai Hind. बहुत काम करो, बहुत मेहनत करो. I'll see you in the next one.